Welcome. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is to show how to basically put a custom website or web page onto an ESP32, and this is actually an ESP32-CAM. So basically, this is a project that I have sort of running at the moment. So sorry, that I've been coding at the moment. And basically, it's like a page which connects to the ESP-CAM. And what I'm trying to do is rather than the thing is, what's happened? I've looked on on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of videos where they show how to put HTML into an ESP32. And what I've noticed is that most of them seem to be doing it the very hard way. Because what I want to show you is actually an easier way of doing it. So basically, I have this sort of this code here already, and it's let me just give a quick demo of it, what I have so far. So right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reset it, and you'll see I have some information will come up on it. Right, so there it's reset, and as you can see, it's got an IP address. And so if I go to this particular IP address, what it will do is one like an ESP camera running. And so if I see, that's the old screwdriver just moving over it, just showing that it works. And if you want to see the setup of it, basically this is just so there it is. So you can see where I've got the serial port attached to it, and then when I put the sort of screwdriver over it, actually I think because I got in debug mode, sometimes it will. Sometimes it doesn't put the full image up, so sometimes you will get it could actually just be because I haven't connected it up properly, because sometimes the image doesn't. So when you can see those little yellow lines, it doesn't get to process the image properly. But anyway, that's not the main thing I'm after, but this is just to show you what it currently looks like. And I've set up some queries so that if I do that, see, it just says. So I've already written some code to like test the query string, and so if I so notice there it says that it's unrecognized query string. So if I send the correct one. But with the wrong data, then now it just says an unknown query. So that's just a quick demo of what I've got working so far. So now what we're going to basically try to do is to do an advanced web page using jQuery, and we're going to be trying to do it as easy a way as possible. So hopefully I'll be able to do it sort of reasonably quickly within this video. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to be using grapes.js. And what that is it's like a system which allows you to sort of mock up a web page. And so first thing is you just get rid of this. So what I want to do first is to get the block set up. So if I first put one on top here, and then do another one for the text, and then I'm going to be putting like the three buttons for the text, and then one for the toggle the LED. So if you put the 3 here, so there's my 3 cells for the text, and then we just put one more to toggle the LED. So now you're going to see how quickly we can get this done, which would normally be like a long job for someone who's trying to do this the hard way with by actually coding it how I've seen other people do it. So we put this image up here. So I'll just choose an image. This is just an old logo, so hopefully no one will try and phone the number that's on there, because it's not going to work. And so what I like about this is you can sort of style it quite easily. So let's give it a style. So this adds let's add a CSS class for it, and what we can do is just center that. So let's move to the next one. So I want to add some text here. So add a bit of text in there. Okay, so that's that. So we can format the text a bit as well. Just give it in there. When you give it a class, it's easier to reference in case you want to change anything. So if we center that and increase the font size a bit. Then we want the font weight, let's make it semi-bold, and just make it a bit thinner. Let's up it a bit. And give it a font family. Let's just go for what do you want? Yeah, that's a bit knackered. Yeah, it's better. Alright, so now we want to have the placeholders for the text. So that these will go in here. So if we and so what we want to do then is go back to here, add the text into each one. So I'm only going to give it sort of general names because this is going to be replaced later on. Alright, so that's the text. And so the next thing we want to add is some buttons which the jQuery is going to reference. So I couldn't find any buttons here, so in the end I just used the custom code. So just add that in there. So we just get a button from here. So the next one. That's what I like about this GrapesJS is once you're used to it, you can do stuff really quick. I've noticed there's hardly YouTube videos on it as well, which I find strange. It's as if people prefer to just do stuff the hard way. And the good thing about this is they're doing a lot of development on it as well. So now to make these buttons easier to access, just check it. Alright, so yes, I've given the buttons an ID of text1, 2. So now I've got to make sure that these have an ID as well. So you do that with the settings. It's a lot easier than going into the HTML directly and having to edit it manually. It's, so alright, so that's that, and then we just got to do the toggle one. So if we do our custom again. Oh yeah, we need the text first. Right. So now we need to give this, let me just check this. So it's toggle div and toggle div. So we call this one toggle div. We just need to add a button. ID toggle. Okay, so basically we have I think we can center these buttons as well. Alright, so here we have our, just setting this. Okay, so what happened is that I ran out of space, so it just cut off while I was doing the this section. So I'm just gonna so basically the bit that you missed was just when I made sure that each of these text areas, see, when you go to classes, I made sure that the class was the same in each one. So that's text. And see, that's text again. So as you can see, the three parts. So the three texts have the same sort of class. So what that then means is that if you make any changes, it should reflect on each of them. So if we say we want to change the fonts to something, I don't know, let's just say like well, we don't want Korea, so Georgia. You see all three of them change. And so let me see if we can I think impacts to, yeah, I suppose that's it. Is that okay? No, I think that might actually be a, yeah, so if we, I don't even know what to, brush, yeah, that looks, alright, let's just go with that. So as you can see, all three of them change, and, what that, yeah, so all three of them change at the same time because I made sure that they all have the same, like class on them. Right. So basically now the next stage, what I have to do is to get this code obviously onto the ESP8266. Sorry, no, it is the ESP32. And so what I do then is, go into the text editor and I've like set up, the beginning of the HTML that I'm going to be putting into it. And so so in order to export that, I need to, so what I just need is like a body as well. So, let's see. Yeah, so we got the bottom of head. So we just need the body to hold the, yeah, then just the body part at the end as well. Right, and I don't think these are HTML at the end, but anyway, well, let's put it in anyway. So I think you are supposed to put it in. Right, so now we're ready to like export what we've created here in the GrapesJS. So if we go to the code, and so this is the actual HTML. So if we copy that, so we put that inside the body, and then we also need the CSS. So we copy that. And that's why it's so good, the way that you do the work and then it just presents the HTML and CSS for you. And you can just paste it in. And that's, I mean, it's a lot better than, you know, other ways of doing it. So now, what I have to do is, okay, so now what we need is, yeah, so that's the HTML that we're going to be trying to put onto the ESP32. And so the next thing we need is the actual JavaScript. So I've got some JavaScript that I've used before when I was trying it out, and let's go in there. Right, so what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to need one more actually, because we've got 3 texts. Right, so the buttons, if you remember what the buttons were called, which you can get from here. So the IDs for the buttons are so we got text. So the IDs are text 1, text 2, and text 3. So the buttons, text 1. Alright, so the click function, so what it's going to be is, to get the text, it was query Alright, so that's the text. So basically that's the query that's going to be sent to the ESP32. Sorry, this is the text that's going to come back, or is going to be sent. So this is the reason why you're using jQuery, because it has this load function which saves you actually writing quite a bit of code. And so it's just going to return the information back into text 3, 2, and 1. And so then for the toggle, you just have to let's just toggle. So when you send it again, it just goes on and off. Yeah, that's fine. Yep, okay, I think that JavaScript looks good. So now for the part, because one thing about doing it this way is that if you try to basically I could just include the jQuery in the header and pull it in from a CDN, but the problem then is that you have your ESP32 in wherever you have it. And in order for you to access it, your phone or laptop has to pull the jQuery from the internet. So what that then means is if you have Wi-Fi problems or your internet goes down, it means you can't actually use your ESP32. So that's a bit. And of course, if you're in somewhere where the internet is bad, then that means you literally can't use jQuery. So my solution for that is basically, what you do is you just find a link to a CDN for jQuery, and so the link so I've got a link, right? So that's a link to the CDN for this particular jQuery version. So if you put the link for the CDN in and just press return, it will actually give you basically the whole of the minified JavaScript. And so what you essentially want to do now is just do Control A or Command A on a Mac, and then you just want to just copy that. Now here's the thing where you have to watch out is some text editors don't like when you do this, so you have to make sure that whichever text editor you're using is actually happy with you dropping a load of stuff in it like this. And, well, it looks like Genie had no problem there. So I was using Bluefish before and it actually slowed down quite a bit. But Genie seems, well, yeah, it stutters a little bit, admitting, but that's quite impressive. So what we've essentially done is I've copied the jQuery, the whole of the jQuery library, and put it into a script tag inside the HTML. And so now we're almost there. So what we can do, just to see if this looks okay, is I could save it and then try to load it. So if I save this, I'll save it there. And so as you notice, it's recognizing it as HTML. So, but of course, if you try and load this, see, I've got it as webpage again.h. Now, if I try to load this into the ESP32, then of course all you get is a mess. Because, no, sorry, it wouldn't compile, because of course the C compiler would try to actually interpret this, and basically you never get this to compile. Now, of course, the other option, you could put it in quotes, but then there's quotes in here all over the place, so you'd have to escape all of these speech marks, and that's madness as well, because there's all other kind of characters in here, which you just be too much hassle to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to see if I can actually open this. It might not let me, but we might as well find out. So I'm going to just try and add another tab. See if it lets me open the file. Right, so this is the file that we saved. As you can see, it's 500k, which is quite a lot. Let's try that. Oh, so there you go. So a few little mistakes there can cause your page not to work at all. So there we have text 1, text 2, and text 3, and then we just got the LED. So of course nothing's going to work. Alright, so what we do then is, that seems alright, so what we can do is just get rid of that and change it back to the header file. Alright, so yeah, so this is the fixed one. So we know that this actually works HTML wise. So basically now, okay, just have to do a quick change because I'm recording this in another audio recorder and the battery just ran out. So good thing I got it's like a backup. So yes, the sound quality might go a bit bad in the previous parts, just before now. So now it's time for us to get to the magic part. So here we have an HTML file, which we know has worked because we tested it out and it shows up properly. And now the problem we have is we've got this nice HTML. And now if we convert this using some sort of, dark art technique to a file which can be used as an H file, of course we lose the ability to edit it, which is a bit tedious. But I've done a bit of research, and what I've found out is that there's a way you could use some C magic, which is what I call it, to actually convert this as it is here into a proper header file. And so now it's time for me to get the magic code. So the first one I get is this, and to change the name so it doesn't well, actually I can call it web page because I'm not going to be using both of them. So what this magic is, actually let me just finish it off, is alright, so there's a bottom part you have to put in, which is like yeah, so what this is this end part is the actual end part of the string. And so what this magic is, there's a name for it, but I can't remember. It's something like it's called a C raw string. And what essentially you have to do is when you put this letter R here, it's like some C magic which was introduced at some point in the C language, where it's basically a C raw literal, I think it's called. And this raw SL, that's just a delimiter that I put in. So basically, this has to be a delimiter which doesn't appear in the text anywhere. So you just basically choose something that, it's just some nonsense basically that it's not going to be a part of your normal text. And then when you get to the bottom, you'll see that you have to make sure that the end part, that delimiter is at the end as well after the last bracket. And what that essentially means is that between these two delimiters, you can put anything you want. Any character, I think UTF-8, I think any UTF-8 character, I think you can actually put in. And it will just basically be stored. Is it UTF-8? I don't know if it's UTF-8 or ASCII. I'd have to find that out. But as far as I know, ASCII is guaranteed to work anyway. And now here's the interesting part, is you notice that it's actually the HTML that is actually highlighted. So I can actually change that. So if we set the file type to C, you'll notice that this C part actually looks like how it should do, and the rest of it's gone green. And well, the only thing that's shown up is obviously the semicolon at the end as C. But of course, we get no highlighting for the HTML. But then if we go back to basically the HTML, then now we get our lovely highlighting for the HTML and JavaScript as well, which is convenient. And then if you don't like the fact that the CSS isn't, you can just go CSS, and then that's all nicely colored in. And of course your HTML's messed up. But if you go back to, but the easiest thing is just not worry about the CSS and just go back to, just go back to HTML, and at least most of your code has got the highlighting, and it's only the little C part at the top and bottom that, and so you get to keep your lovely form, and you can edit it, just however you want with highlighting. You don't have to convert it, and just this little bit of code here at the end, at the top, is enough for it to be recognized. So now if we save that, and then basically, as you can see, it's got web page. Yeah, so what I need to do now, so the H file is called web page again. And so what I have to do is go back into our main code. Where I've included the web page, I just got to change it to it again. Now the interesting thing is, I don't know how much space I've got on this, because this file is quite big, so it might end up crashing, but we'll find out. So if I save that, so now let's see what happens. Stop this. Yeah, I found that I have to unplug it to. I'm sure there's a way to do it properly, but I'm not sure what that is. Okay, it's trying to link it, so you like the web page. You see how big? 800. Well, it's not. So it's over a megabyte, but compressed, it's 800k. So that's how. Now we just got to wait while that big fat web page with jQuery included is written to the controller. Okay, so it's up. So now I'm just going to reset. Let's see what happens. See if it crashes. I forgot I hadn't taken off the programming. Okay, so we have to make it bigger. Alright. Let's see. So now what we have to do is trying to remember how we change this. Alright, let me just find out. Okay, so here I am back after the crash, and so what's happened? I actually did a bit of digging around to work, and what I ended up having to do is I had to redo the partition table. Now, of course, this isn't a part of this particular video, but if anyone wants me to go through this, partition thing, then I can do another video about that if they want. But for now, I'll only do it if someone does a comment or leaves a comment about that. But if no one does, then I'll just be doing something else. So now so after fixing the partition, the other message I kept getting was this one, where it kept asking for the favicon. So because it was a bit annoying seeing it in the logs, I decided I'd go and find out. So what I did in the end is that there's a program you can use called XXD, which could convert any binary file into like a C header. So basically I went and did that, and this is like the similar command that I used. And basically, yeah, so I converted it into a header file. So here is the favicon.h that I generated with XXD. And so then I just inserted that into the code. So there's another, yeah, see there's an extra URI that it listens for. And what it does, it sends the, it just sends the icon image, whenever, as a PNG, whenever it's asked for. So now I'm just going to upload that. So I just need to crash it so I can get back. Right, so I just got to save these so that they're ready to go. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it built it. So now it's going to send it up to the ESP. You can see there it's just flashing it up. As you can see, it's quite big now. So it's 1.2 megabytes of data being uploaded to the ESP. So obviously it's not going to be that quick, going over like a crusty serial connection. I mean, if I uploaded it over wireless, it would probably actually be faster. But that's the one disadvantage with having it so big, is that you don't have the OTA over the air partitions anymore. But so technically you could still squeeze it on there if you dance around with the partitions. Okay, so that's up. So now I've just got to reset it. Or actually I've worked out that usually it always browns out whenever I reset, so it's easier just to crash it out. And then when I replug it, it normally works. So just do the monitor. Okay, I'm going to presume that's working. Right, and another thing I've noticed about this is that it takes a while for this front page to load. But it could be because I haven't turned off the debugging yet, so I don't know how much that slows down the code. Right, and there you have it. So as you see, the ESP's loaded the, and as you can see there, it says 576,965 bytes. So 500K was sent by the ESP. And that includes this big image here, just to waste a lot of space. Right, so now what we can find out is to see if these work. So as you can see, it says toggle LED says it's off. So what I'm going to do is, so let's have a look at the ESP. So let's see what happens if I do toggle LED. So it's still off, because that's the default. And it's on, and that's very bright. It's actually worse than what you're seeing on the screen. So let me turn it off again. So turn it on, and turn it off. So here we got it's nice AJAX as well. So notice that there's no web page load, so you can just do it quickly. yeah, and that's the thing, because notice how this page takes a good few seconds to load. So if you've got a really heavy page on the ESP, you definitely want to use jQuery or AJAX. And you can use the AJAX, but then you have to type all the code yourself. So when you use jQuery, it's a lot easier. So you could have a proper page on here with loads of elements on it, all using the jQuery. And it doesn't take up that much more space because the jQuery sort of takes the load off. So this will allow you to do a very complicated page. Because see how quickly you can toggle that, because this is the AJAX. See, I think I'm missing some. That's off. See, it's very fast. So in this case, the jQuery has really helped out, because it means that the response is like super fast. Because the page doesn't have to load. So let's see if the text is working, because I think oh, it works. Alright. So you see, so this is from the header file. So this is actually quite successful actually. So these are the response texts. So the first one, so you get the first lot, and that sends the second lot. And you can see here where it sends the query. So then that's text 3. And let's see, yeah, and so that's the okay, so just cut off there again because this is using up a lot of space on my laptop. Normally I don't record on my laptop, but I just thought, just because I had all this software already on here and didn't realize how much space it used up. So basically what I've done is I've gone into this response text.h file. I've added some text from like the front page. So I was just going to try and just get some text from some other ones. And I'm just using text because if I use anything else, it probably have some characters which would break out, and I'd have to then do it the other way. But this is just really to save time, since you seem to have pretty much finished what we need to do. So this is just more just to show the extent of what you can do with yeah, so you got a load of text you want to put onto your ESP32. So the easiest way is just put it into the constant char and then just save that. And I think that should be alright. I just want to check one thing. I might as well make it PNG, since it is actually a PNG. Let's see if that works. I'll crash it again. The other thing I always have to do is to put the GPIO 0 to put it into upload mode. Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, and I suppose the other thing is that even with a reasonably fast connection, but I think I might have done the baud rate a bit slow actually. I'll have to check that. So I suppose if I start, because the image is so big, it actually takes a while to flash. And obviously, if you want to do updates like reading stuff from the ESP with JavaScript, then using the jQueries, it just makes it a lot easier, because I suppose you just put a timer on it and just, I'm sure there's an easy way of doing it in jQuery without having to write a whole host of JavaScript. Okay, so that's up. So yeah, I shouldn't have bothered with the make monitor because it's just going to crash out anyway. Alright, so now, so let's see what happens. Okay, it's as usual. Long wait for the data. Yeah, so definitely you're gonna. Oh, that was actually a bit quicker, and looks like the icon came up as well. But the icon still doesn't appear though, for whatever reason. But it did actually ask for it, so. Oh no, there it is. What am I talking about? Yeah, so there you have it. So the little favicon is showing up. So it looks like to get it to work, you have to put this. So if you're using a PNG, I think you have to specify this, because by default it doesn't try to read a PNG. But the only reason I put this in is because if you don't, it keeps trying to read. Some browsers will always keep trying to load the favicon, and you keep getting an error in the log saying it's doing it. So it's really just an annoyance, just to get rid of that particular error. So there we have the page. So it's got a big image at the top, which makes sure that it takes a long time to load. And actually, I think maybe the page was taking so long to load because it was looking for the favicon. Could be. So maybe that's something to remember, is that make sure to put the favicon there so that it doesn't slow down the loading of your page from your ESP. And so then we're just going to finally have a final look at this. And so make sure the toggle still works. I don't know why it's taking so long. Yep, so that's working. It's a nice response as well, because we're using the jQuery. And so then let's test the text, see if the new text comes in. There you go. Oh, looks like it's a set. Yeah, I'll have to work that out. So I think the divs are a set size. So what will happen is it's going to destroy it. Yeah. Oh, well, that's something you'd have to work out as to why the div. I think it's because it's something in the CSS. I think I saw what it's doing is to make sure that the page doesn't expand. Yeah, there's a, see, that did push it down. So I think it does push the text down, but I think it hasn't been set to push the actual other divs down. But that's obviously just a CSS thing that does that, and it shouldn't be too hard to work out. So there you have it. That's finally the end of that. So how to have like a fancy web page with jQuery running in your ESP32, I should say. And even the ESP-CAM as well. And obviously, yeah, I've got the camera code working, but it would just take too long trying to get it into this page. Well, it wouldn't take that long, but I just don't really have the time now because it's getting a bit late. Okay, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see other videos like this.